Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again, a Thursday night live, MWR University, Make Wealth Real University. We're excited about this presentation again tonight. Grab a pencil and paper. Real University about presentation. Get notes on this tonight. It's not just for the reps that are joining you tonight. We want to take notes on this. We got less than those last. This potential prospects see provided, especially tens of thousands of people have already accessed this platform and have. I mean, their lives together. We got the overnight because we now have the access. But listen, I'm excited to be here with you tonight. Let's see who's joining. Now is our time. Give us your city, give us your state. Let's fill this. We've got months. We're going to hear from one of those tonight. But listen, I'm excited to be here with you tonight. Let's see who's joining tonight. What part of the country? Give us your city. Give us your state. Let's tonight, hey, North Carolina, grab a pen, send out those last minute texts. Charlotte, North Carolina. You see what North Carolina doing tonight, guys? Hey, Mr. Grant, look at that. How are you, sir? We're in Meridian, Mississippi, Durham, North Carolina. Grab one pen. All right, Jason, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina. You see what North Carolina doing tonight, guys? Hey, Mr. Grant, look at that. How are you? Thomas to the platform. All right, Jason. See you, girls out there. Jones. All right, Lord, welcome to Chantel out of North. Guys, give you up on here, Jason Thomas, my friend. Welcome to see you, Colonel. Guys, always a pleasure. Out of Norfolk, Virginia. Welcome to the platform. North Carolina, Columbia, Manny. Welcome to Arlington, Texas. All right, Lucy, Alabama. Welcome to the platform. Cooper Woods out of Georgia, way out west. Mr. Hey, Slim, my friend Brian Woods, welcome to our platform. That's California in the house. Guys, we're going way out west. Miss Wooten, guys, go. Hey, Slim, all right, see you guys. What platform? Los Angeles, California. Miss Jenkins out of Gary, Indiana. Welcome to the platform. Guys, you out there, Tallahassee, always in Illinois. Welcome to the platform, guys, who has one. All right, Cleveland, Ohio, in the house, Beverly Smith, Gary, Indiana. Guys, give me a double. Mr. Percy Ryan out of Maryland, Wardolph. Welcome to the platform. All right, Cleveland, Ohio, New York, Long Island, Smith. Welcome to the platform. Here we go. Illinois again. Miss Wilson, welcome. Minister Ryan out of Maryland, Wardolph, North Carolina, Miss Patterson. All right, Miss Isle, New York, Long Island. Washington, D.C., our neighbor's capital, Illinois again. Miss Wilson, Texas, Miss Faces, welcome to the platform. Jackson, here we go. We're loading up. Garner, all right, Mrs. Marcella Garner. That's Georgia. See, our nation's cat, guys. A few more. Killeen, Texas. Sterling, Virginia. Welcome to the platform. Welcome to the platform. Guys, here we go. We're loading up. Garner, Horizons, Marcella Garner, that's Georgia again. Sterling, Illinois, Chicago, welcome to the representing tonight. Guys, once again, my name is Gerald Kelly Edwards. My job is to bring up guys, the person who's going to be introducing our speaker tonight. Illinois again. Chicago is representing tonight. Guys, I'm telling you, I've seen this thing. It's the most amazing. My job is to bring up, continue to ask myself over and over again. It's going to share with that I never knew anything about now because I'm telling you, I've seen this thing. It's the most amazing concept that I've ever seen. But I continue to ask myself, over and over again, how is it that I never knew anything about this? Because these services now and products that we are to the table for the wealthy. And that's how we've been locked. We've not been locked out of the process, so we've been priced out of the process. So we're in the game now as a result of MWR Financial. We're going to win in a big way. Without further ado, let me bring on our next speaker for tonight, Mr. Daryl R. Banks. Mr. Banks, welcome to the platform, sir. Are you there? There he is. Hey, if he gets in bed, I won't be able to stand it. It's good to see you, my friend. I'm doing great, sir. Good to see you. If he gets in bed,
how we doing this evening?
Hey, man, if I won't be able to stand it, it's good to see you, my friend.
How we doing this evening?
I'm doing great, sir. Good to see you. If he gets in bed, I won't be able to stand it.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. This is an amazing opportunity to be able to understand exactly what this account is all about. Traditionally, this has only been and now we see that this is something that we have access to. So you're not going to be sure to grab your in and your pad. You're not doing just that. Not to hold this for long. We're about to bring on is our first cash flow. He has over 15 years of experience and us to explain exactly how this account works and to fit your cash flow, be able to exceed that cash flow. I mean, that's that.
We're all in, so we know how it is sometimes. And that some of those things in and out. And so I appreciate you, Daryl, Gerald. Appreciate you guys. MWR, make real. I mean, I'm all over the. I've seen North Carolina all the way to California, and super excited to be part. Like you said, Daryl, without an organization, it's not locked. Is teaching, like you said.
No question about it.
Where you go? With the
about you know, we're so grateful for you to teach us to bring this vital stuff. This about what you just said outside of vital stuff, because I think I've had a chance to access this kind of information. But here's it's so powerful. This information can actually set you can put us on the road to financial security, to generational wealth. These two systems I clearly listen. I'm getting nothing else out of you. To generational wealth. Here's what I clearly understand. How rich people and how they stay rich, my friend. I using these two to bring to the table. It's clear. This is why the great majority of us are losing time from the same playbook. So we're on it. Thank you so much.
Exactly. You know what you just said remind me of I read that one said one time. He said people would do what wealthy wouldn't be poor anymore.
Rich and how they stay rich.
I remember reading that and I said, well, why don't you just tell me what wealthy people do, right? Because I don't know what they do. So let's get into that. And we got to get into what they do. Let's go ahead and get into the slides.
But this is
what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over two different things. Okay, I'm going to go over first. Until now. Let's talk about the
we're on it.
That part with
thank you so much.
Diversified cash. What wealthy people do, they wouldn't be. I don't know if local in this country are in debt, and I think sometimes. Especially we think it's just ourselves. And I always like to start these things out by asking a few questions. Number one, are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubt? I always ask people that question because I think in our heart of hearts, a lot of us have some doubt, right? The other question I ask people is, if there was a way that you can get completely out of debt in 9 years or less without spending any extra money than you currently are today, would you be interested in finding out how? And you know what? I've never had anybody say no to those questions. So I want to start by talking about debt. And I know this is a little small, but I want to talk about where we are as a nation, because I want people to feel comfortable understanding that it's not just you. It's not just me. Because sometimes we take a look at our own finances and we say, I don't want them to know, or I don't want anybody to know, or I don't know how I'm going to get out of this myself. And the truth is, they're not in it alone. We're all in the same situation because the national debt is out of control. The main reason, though, this is happening is because 74 cents out of every dollar that we have is going towards taxes and interest. You see, I don't know about you, but whenever you're playing a game and you don't really understand the rules, it's kind of hard to win. And before this, and I never knew where all my money was going. And whenever I broke it down, and I said, well, how is 74 cents out of all my money going to taxes and interest? And then I started taking a look at my mortgage. I started taking a look at everything I buy. I started taking a look at what the uncle that I don't even know called Sam is taking from me. And I started realizing, wow, if I can just get control of these two things, there's a possibility that I could be better off financially later on. And so I want to get right into a client that we had a long time ago, about over 10 years ago, got started with us. And I just want to kind of show the example of what happened when they use the Diversified Cashflow Account for debt. What we always do is we have a debt worksheet that goes over, sorry, let me go back. It goes over where you are right now. So some of you have already filled that out and you have appointments coming, you've already filled that out. But the main thing we want to know first is, let's take an analysis of where we are right now, right? Let's make sure we know not just where we are, but where do we want to go? So if you over here, they put what they were making financially. They put what are their current concerns were, kids, 401ks, what they had. And then over here, we take a look at the savings and investments. What are you currently doing right now? For a lot of us, the first time I took a look at this, I was like, well, saving and investments, well, what's that? Right? I got too much debt to save anything. I don't know about investments because I don't know where the right place to put my money. And so we take analysis of these things, and then we take a look at outstanding debts. Now, these are bills. Whenever we're filling these things out, these are bills that we're currently paying on, right? I don't know about y'all. I know some of y'all won't admit this, but for me, there were some bills that not only was I wasn't paying on, but I was never planning on paying on them. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like, they're gonna have to figure something out, because right now I need to figure out a way to start saving some money, start doing some other things. But what we want to do with you is we want to find out where you are right now, right? So we take a look at all these things. And if you remember, one of the things that I said earlier is, if we can show you how to pay off all your debt in 9 years or less without spending any extra money. And that's the part that gets people, is how can I pay off all my bills? How can I pay off my mortgage? How can I do all this in 9 years without spending any extra money? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attack interest. Remember what I said, that the two things 74% of every dollar is going to is taxes and interest. Well, you know what? I get a lot of people that say, well, I got this credit card that's 20%. I got this revolving loan that's 19. I got this car that's 6. But what most people don't realize is, I said, well, what about your mortgage? A lot of people say, oh, you don't got to worry about my mortgage, man. I got a 2.2 interest rate. I got a 3.5 interest rate. I got a 5% interest rate. And I think so many of us have been, and I don't want to say bamboozled. I want to say we understand the rules, but we don't know how far it goes into the playbook. So let me show this. Regardless of your interest rate, here's what's happening in our first year whenever we are paying our mortgage. Our first year, 78% of all of our money is going toward interest. 78% of what we're paying toward our money, our mortgage, is going toward interest. So if you're like me, the first time I saw that, it was like, well, big deal. I already knew that, because one of the things we trade off by getting this loan is they're going to take a lot of interest the first few years. I know that. So when I saw this slide, I was like, tell me something I don't know. Then the rabbit hole went a little further, though, because by year 10, 65% of the payments that I'm making toward my mortgage is still going toward interest. Now, this got my attention, because I was like, it don't matter if I have a 2%, 5%, it doesn't matter what it is. If by year 10, more than half of my payments is still going toward interest, how am I ever supposed to pay this thing off? Think about that. How are we going to pay this thing off if most of my money is going toward interest? Okay, let's keep on going. So year 20. So you're trying to tell me I'm 20 years into my mortgage and I still got 42% of my payments going toward interest? This is the part where we don't pay attention to, because I think for most of us, we've been sold on the fact that, hey, we need to get mortgages because we need to get homes, and we need to get 30-year mortgages to where most of the money is going to go toward interest. But we don't realize how far that gets us as far as trying to get out of debt. Finally, by year 30, you got that interest. So if you got a 2%, if you got a 3%, if you got a 5%, you're going to see that true interest rate in your 30th year. Now think about that for a second. How are you ever going to pay off a mortgage if most of the money we're paying is going toward interest? But it gets even worse, because if I back up, I want you to think about this, and I'm not going to answer it because you can't answer me, but I know you can answer yourself. I want you to think about this. How long do most people stay in their home before they move? If you think about it, most of us are staying in our home anywhere between 1 and 15 years before we get a new home. So what's happening? We're spending the majority of our life in 78 to 65 and maybe 42% interest. And that's the game that they've been playing for a long time. That's the game that keeps us in a position to where it's hard for us to get ahead. That's the game where we don't understand the rules, but yet we're wondering, why can't we save money? Well, if you have all this interest, this money you're paying toward interest, it's hard to retire. It's hard to save money. it's hard to ever own a home free and clear. So that's why whenever we talk about this, we talk about, look, let's attack that. Let's attack the interest first. Let's attack taxes first. And most people have tried this. Most people have tried, I think, and I guess let me back up, because I know there's not a lot of people that, or a lot of people say they want to get out of debt, but not everybody's doing the right things to try. So I want to talk about the people who are trying to get out of debt. Sometimes we try by just working harder. I mean, I don't know about you, but nowadays I don't know anybody that doesn't have a job, a part-time job, a side hustle, right? I don't know anybody that doesn't have that, because we're trying to figure out a way to get ahead, spending less, right? There's something, I was talking to a family not too long ago. They went on they said they went 2 years. And I said, 2 years, like eating rice, beans, bread sandwiches, just to figure out a way to get ahead, right? Spending less money, refinancing, consolidating. We try all of these things. And the biggest challenge whenever we're doing these things is we're trying it without any help. And that's where the Diversified Cashflow Account is really going to help, because now we're weaponizing you with a vehicle that's going to give uninterrupted compound interest and still be able to use it. So let's circle back around to how, whenever we say, if we can show you how to pay off all your debt, including your mortgage, in 9 years or less without spending any extra money than you're currently spending. The gotcha is without, right? Where's that extra money coming from? Well, for most people that's trying to get out of debt, we don't pay the minimums on things. If you take a look at them over here, they had a credit cards, medical bills, furniture, mortgage. These are the minimums, but they're paying extra, right? We found over here, between the extra money they're paying on the bills and then what they're putting in the 401k, $625 a month that they're putting toward that we could probably use to help them get out of debt. I know some of you are thinking, well, hold on. That was extra money, but you taking money out their 401k. Some people are real protective about their 401k. Look, I listen, don't mess with my 401k. Well, here's why we choose to do that. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I had a 401k back when I was an engineer for Texas Instruments, I didn't really understand how it worked. I understood when they said tax deferred, that it meant that I was going to have to pay the taxes sometime in the future, but I didn't really understand it. But here's what they broke down to me. They said, all right, let me ask you a few questions. Would you rather pay taxes now when it's at the lowest, or in the future if it becomes higher? And I said, that's a no-brainer. I'd rather pay taxes now. But how do I know if the taxes are going to get higher in the future? And they take a look at me and say, well, what do you think? You think taxes are going to go up in the future or down? And I took a look at the current economy. I said, they're probably going to go up. So would you rather pay taxes when they go up or when they go down? I said, I'd rather pay taxes at the lowest. Okay. The 401k has you paying taxes at the highest. Second question. Does it make any sense if you're going to pay taxes, right? Would you rather pay taxes on the seed? That means when your money's real small, right? Or the harvest when your money's real big. And that's a no-brainer too. I'd rather pay taxes on the seed. I'd rather pay taxes when my money is small. I don't want to wait till my $100,000 or $100 a month I'm putting in turns into $50,000 or $100,000 and then pay 30-40% taxes on that $100,000. And so the first time they told me that, I said, that doesn't make no sense. That can't be right. So I started looking around and I realized that's how the 401k works. And then I asked myself this question: who told me to get a 401k in the first place? I realized it was the people. It was my mom and them. It was the people. Everybody else was getting a 401k. So guess what I did? I got a 401k too. And most of us, if you ask yourself, where did you get the notion to elect for a 401k? For most of us, we just did what everybody else did. So we educate people on it. Do you want to continue putting money in something to where you know, from number one, that you're going to pay taxes at a much higher rate on? Number two, you know for sure that it's going to be the harvest. They're not going to tax the seed. They're going to tax your money when it gets the biggest. And then number three, they're going to tax your money and take out that at a time when you can't work no more, when you retired, right? We get to the point to where you tired and you don't want to work no more. Now they're going to take 30, 40, and sometimes 42% of your money. So that's why we use the 401k. So what for this family is we're completely out of debt. and 7.8 years, we saved them over $122,000 in interest. And I always said, the thing about it, what if poor people don't know what rich people are doing? This is the because what they're doing. Rich people play the game of by Warren Buffett. No debt. He says if poor people would do, because if you don't have debt, I want you to think about your situation right now. And I always said, but the thing is, take a second. People don't know what rich people are doing. If you didn't have what they're doing, what rich people play the game of no debt. Because if you don't have how debt, much you think about your situation right now, could you save? Just take a think about it. If you did money, you say for everybody, there's enough doing now. 100% more than what they're doing. Right? So we saved them over $1 million. A little bit. I'm talking that say that put my money in mutual funds. I'm putting my money over here. You know, so how is the diversified cash flow going to help me? And so I want to take you through, and I'm putting and put my money in mutual street. Just one thing, I'm putting my money. We were told one thing is it really hasn't. It has 3 different eras. From 1901 to 1999, it was an average 3.7%. That's what the market did. The stock market to 1999 did 14%. It's done less than 1%. So what happened? What happened to make this 14%? What happened? How did this 14% happen? Well, it happened because before 1950, less than 2% of people had any kind of stock. In the 80s, and in the 80s is when the government created these 401ks, these IRAs. They created these vehicles. So think about this: if something new was created and you didn't have any way of saving, doing anything before, and you have less than 2% of the Americans that own any of this, and all of a sudden now it's there, people flock to it. Right. And that's why we have so many baby boomers right now that they trust the market because they remember this time and they know, you know what, it's going to get back to that time. It's going to get back to that time. But it hasn't. And worst case, we've been selling the same thing over and over again. We've been sold average rate of return. Right. If you talk to any financial advisor, you talk to anybody that's talking about money, they're going to say, let me show you the average rate of return. And what I always want to know is what's the true rate of return? Right? Because I don't believe in average rate of return anymore. The truth about it is average rate of return. I'm gonna just call it how it is. It's false. Whenever someone talks to you about the average rate of return, it's completely false. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. And a lot of people, especially if you're in the financial advisor, some of them don't know this. Some don't take the time to say, what is the average rate of return? What does that mean? Okay, let's break it down real quick. So let's say you had $100,000, and then in year one, that 100,000 went up 50%. You got 100,000, it goes up 50%. That's pretty simple. How much money are we going to have? I'll wait for you. Pretty simple, right? We're going to have $150,000. What happens the second year? If it goes down 50%, how much money are we going to have? Now, some of us, when I saw that first day, I said, well, if it goes down 50%, I'm going to have $100,000. That's not true, is it? Because if you look at the slide closely, if it goes down 50%, we're going to have $75,000. Now, what is the average rate of return those 2 years? 0. Hold on a second. Now think about this for a second. How did I lose money, but the average rate of return is 0? How did I lose money, but the average rate of return is 0? It's because this is the diagram that's been used for mutual funds, 401ks, for IRAs, all investment advisors. They use average rate of return. And the truth is, there's no really such thing as an average rate of return in order to get real money. We have to talk about the true rate of return. We have to talk about, hey, how much money did I start with? How much money do I have right now? Period. That's all I want to know. How much money I start with? How much money do I have right now? Average. Don't talk to me about average rate of return. And the reason I'm talking about this is because so many of us get caught up in these 12%. We hear it all the time. Mutual funds going to average 12% over a period of time. What period of time? The stock market itself, since it started, the stock market itself has averaged 7.5% rate of return. Okay, hold on to that for a second. But the true rate of return, right, has been 5.6%. Right. So the true rate of return from 1901 to 2011 has been that. But whenever you put in taxes and fees, that's the real rate of return right there, 3%. 3%. So whenever I talk to people about putting your money in a place to where you can get compound interest, 4 to 6% compound interest, and then we're always conditioned to say, but hold on, man, I can get this over here, or I can get this over here. But we're talking average rate of return, okay? Because we all know this is how the market moves. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And this is the part that I want everybody to pay attention to. Because if you get this part, you understand the power of the diversified cash flow account. The number one way to grow wealth is to find a vehicle that gives you uninterrupted compound interest, period. The number one inhibitor to people getting wealthy is uninterrupted compound interest. The challenge is this: where can I get uninterrupted compound interest and still be able to use my money? Well, that's the diversified cash flow account. We all heard this quote by Albert Einstein talking about compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. If you can find a way to put your money somewhere, allow it to grow uninterruptedly, compounding, now you could put yourself in a position to start building, just like this diagram right here. You can put yourself in a position to start having money compound upon compound and start growing with or without you. So I'll wrap up with this. If there was a way you could double your cash flow, eliminate debt, self-finance like bankers do, and if you could do it without working any harder, sacrificing your lifestyle, or spending additional money, would you want to know how? And that's what we're going to finish up with today. Because for most of us, we've been told one thing, a rate of return, and yet it hasn't performed like that. For most of us, we've been told, hey, go get a mortgage, go this 2%, 5%, now 6%. We've been told that these interest rates are good, and it's hard to get ahead that way. And so I want to wrap up with this. The reason that we're in a situation for most of us that we're in right now is because of knowledge. Will Rogers has this quote, and I always refer back to this because there's so many of us that we just think we know. Like I'll have people argue with the 4K to the ground. I argue about the mortgages. I'll have all this and what I just say is, okay, right? Stay blind. Okay. I mean, that's why I like MWR so much, because we're in a position right now to where not only can we educate ourselves. I always look, for me, I found out this information, later on in life for myself. But you know what? For my kids, I'm teaching them right now. Right? I'm passing on the knowledge that I have right now to the next generation, so the next generation can get ahead. And that's what we're doing here at MWR. That's why we partner with MWR, to put you in a position with this diversified cash flow account to, number one, start understanding where your money is. Number two, let's put together a plan to get out of debt. Let's get out of debt. And then number three, let's talk about growing your money, uninterrupted, compound interest, and still be able to use it. So appreciate everybody. Let me share. Let's go back to the field.
Powerful information, my friend. Powerful information. Listen, I want to say this, and you'll appreciate this. One of the first pieces of advice that I received from my financial consultant as I began this journey to redirect my finance. If I had a personal relationship with my money, I said, what in the world are you talking about, a personal relationship? I mean, you need to know where the money's going, how long it's going to be gone, what time it's coming back. I mean, you really got to understand your money like that, because we know that money tends to have a mind of its own. And if we don't have experts like yourself around us, and most of us can't, for the most part, afford experts like yourself, because we're priced out until now. And that's what I want people to understand about the benefits of what we have and what you bring. This platform affords the average everyday person to finally win in their financial life. So I've always said, if people are serious about getting their financial life in order, this is the platform to help them do it. Some of the things that you just shared, you talked about passing on that knowledge. When you look at how these systems have been structured through, well, because what they're doing, passing that knowledge on. They're not going out and offering to the general public, but they're teaching their family, and their family members are teaching their family members. And as a result, you've got generational wealth.
We talk about the personal relationship with money. I think for a lot of us, we've been for so long to help hearing things like money is evolved, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. You're not hearing the uninterrupted compound interest. You can get that. Hey, we're not that. Hey, you can partner with the MWR, get diversified cash. We're not looking in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm not a billionaire. I look good. Look good. Because we got to recondition our mind. We got to tell ourselves